Here in the very heart of London, of course, there are things that you're allowed to do, as you know. And as we get stricter and stricter rules in the very heart of London, which of course recently saw the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves, alongside Angela Rayner and Sadiq Khan descending on the famous Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club to tell us all about how they're pushing hard for these venues to stay open later, even though of course you and I have now no money to spend in these particular events. Well, they were on another freebie. You know, Angela doesn't need to sniff the side of a plate too long before she finds another free meal. Likewise with Rachel Reeves. Sadiq, we're not quite sure. But as I told you recently, over here in London, while drugs are acceptable on the London Underground, something far more demure, far more, well, appealing to many people, well, no, you're not allowed to do that. As ever, let me explain. Good to see you, chums. Thank you so much for joining me today. Yes, we got a lot of traction about the terrible situation on the London Underground, which, you know, was literally across many media pages too. And it's deplorable when you think, and a lot of people do ask me, you know, Neil, when you're traveling around, do you genuinely see these things? What you do see, and I'm very lucky in the fact that, you know, when you sort of work out on the streets, as I do, whether you're reporting or whatever, you get to know a lot of people who work in the area, you know, literally part of the council, and they will warn you about certain bike groups, gangs circulating on electric bikes, trying to steal mobiles and stuff like that, shopping bags. Be careful if you're drawing money out at an ATM machine, because they just wait for what they consider to be a vulnerable person going up there. You know, always try and do it inside a bank if you can find one that's open, and more importantly, of course, if not, do it inside a supermarket. At least there's other people, somebody might come to your rescue. There's no rescue for this though, because a couple of years back, and I'm sure this is sort of the same thing in your part of the world, you see, they decided to come up with this scheme on the London Underground, the Tube, whatever you call it, where people could place books and you put a sticker on the book, and then that meant it was free available to take, and you could read it, whether it be, you know, for a couple of days, then you replace it back on the tube so somebody else could do it. Now, I thought this was a very good novel idea. You know, in certain parts of my job, I've been sent books to review, etc., and I never truly know what to do with them, because unless it's really your passion as such, they take up a lot of space. Now, I used to take them to the charity shops, but, you know, again, I think they charge extortionate fees, so I decided no. And what I would do is I would put the books, say, on top of, you know, the refuse bins or something like that, so somebody might pick it up and think, oh, I'll read that, and at least you kind of know somebody's interested in it. Well, on the London Underground, they've decided no, this is now a fire hazard. This has come from the Fire Brigade London. Now, what's fascinating about this, as I pointed out at the start of this video, seemingly you can take drugs in full view of everybody, crack cocaine, etc. Books, oh no, they're terrifying. Not allowed to do that. Now, what's fascinating also is we have a free newspaper over here called The Metro. And many years ago, in the fullness of transparency, I used to write a daily column for that. That was when a lot of people picked it up. If you go now, what you see is people just leaving it, well, strewn everywhere. They fill the tube tunnels, blowing around, piles of them just left unread on the London Underground. Surely they're more of a fire risk than, say, a paperback or a hardback book sporadically left in various carriages. Is this once again a happy scheme being squeezed out by you-know-who? Either way, does this happen in your part of the world? And what do you think about the fact that suddenly now you can't pick up a free book to read, all thanks to it being a fire hazard? Newspapers blowing in your face as the tube comes, that's not a problem. I'm sure it is. As ever, do let me know, be kind, polite, and share if you can. Neil Sean, Kensington, London.